Hey guys, Clumsy here and welcome back to ETS2. We have a slightly different paint job today. For our DAF 95, we checked this out. The previous episode, XBS's beautiful truck. Beautiful classic truck. From the inside, this is how it looks like. Ooh, actually, did something change? Yeah, I think I changed the interior somewhat. It's a bit more blue. Yeah. Might have been unintentional, but actually looks pretty good, so let's keep it. Something is definitely different though. If we hear it, then you'll probably notice it. There you go. From inside, let's turn it off. Turn it on. Now the track sounds definitely massive. And it's very loud. I think I'll have to tone down the sound a bit. I think interior volume 1 should be enough. Yeah, that's more than enough. Okay, let's get to it. We are currently in Mannheim, in Germany. And we are going to take the next racing trailer. Actually looks pretty nice, and it actually looks pretty matchy with our current color. But you guys will see it in a bit. It should be close by. Yeah, 3 kilometers away. It's going to be a long trip though, because yeah, I should have realized. Of course, if one team is going someplace, then the other teams must be going to the same place. Otherwise, how would they even race, right? So the previous episode, of course, this guy will stop, this lady will stop. Of course, in the previous episode, we took the guys from Prague, from Czech Republic, to Poznan, and of course, this team now is going to Poznan as well because they are racing. So I guess it kind of makes sense that they go to the same place to race together. Now I figured it out, huh? So yes, it's going to be a longer journey and we might have to cut it into 2 episodes, but we'll see. We'll try to see what we can come up with. But at least I can do some Q&As in the meantime, I guess. I have not been very updated with the... Man, I like that growl. I'm not sure if it's very accurate of this truck. I've heard that the Cummins N14 actually was part of this truck. Real trucks did come out with Cummins N14 engines. This model in particular, starting on the, I don't know, 94, 95, from what you guys have been telling me. Wow, that jake brake. But I'm not sure if it really sounds like this, because as Rob said, it sounds too American, I think. So maybe not exactly, but I think it's a good compromise. Yeah, but you guys let me know which one you prefer, okay? That jake brake, I don't think you would hear that in any of the European trucks. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've never heard that kind of jake brake before though. Ouch, 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 ouch. That's our trailer right there. Hopefully the color is pretty matchy. This is one of those trailers that I saw in the screenshots from other people. This is the pretty fancy trailer with a truck at the back. Look at that. Super cool looking. And the trailer itself is pretty cool. Not sure though. There we go. Yeah, let me... Parking brake. Let me go out of the truck. Where are the legs for this thing? Cables are there. Looks like we're all set. There's the truck. Very nice. Oh, it's an Iveco. Scotsman will love this. Yeah. Cool. Alright, let's get going. So, the trip will be 800 kilometers. 800 kilometers passing through Autobahn, after Autobahn, and eventually crossing over to Poland into Poznan for the race. So, I'm not sure if we can finish that in one episode. Let me see. Maybe we can do some questions in the meantime. Let me open up my questions here. Okay. Do a Q&A kind of thing. After all, I'm mostly finished with my trip from China stories. I do like the engine sound though. I like that grumble. And even if it's not like maybe 100% accurate, I think it's close enough. I can make my imagination link the two. So it's not that far off. So we turn left. Oh, very fancy car. That was a near miss. And yeah, the interior looks very different now. The bluish interior actually kind of fits though. I get confused which one is the front side at first glance. Old school trucking. Okay. Mannheim, is this part of the Germany? How the improvements from SCS? I think so. Can't quite remember it. It feels a bit too south though, so maybe it's part of the phase 2.0. Not so sure. But it doesn't look half bad at this point, so I think we'll take a photo right next to that TV tower. That's always a famous tourist spot, right? And we are basically tourists, so why not? Let's take a photo here and highlight the trailer and the TV tower. So they know that we are coming from Mannheim. Something like that. Oh, beautiful. Yes, exactly as how I imagined it. And of course, it comes with a beautiful sky from foggy weather. Yeah, that works for me. Actually, you know what? Yeah, that kind of works very well. Something like so. Something like a bit more zoomed out. So, and something like a bit more dramatic maybe. A bit more zoomed in. Something like so. Sven, Walter, Logistic. Lots of sponsors. That racing team rather. Okay, let's get going. So let's do some Q&As. Did a lot of Q&As in the past few episodes. Why stop now, right? Thank you, Jay, for all the questions you've come up with. Very interesting questions. The next ones are from Jay as well. New set of questions, actually. So he asks, if you didn't have to worry about money or a job, where would you live in the world? You don't have to get philosophical about it. There's even a side note. Okay, if you didn't have to worry about money or a job, well, wow, even the retarder sounds like a jailbreak. Massive. Okay. There we go. Well, I can only imagine of places where I've been to, because I don't think I won't know enough of places I've only heard of or seen in pictures and videos. So I would be limiting my scope to places I've been to in real life. So I have at least a smidgen an idea. Also, these engine sounds are quite fitting, seeing that we're actually hauling a racing truck and all that, so we have to have like a cooler sound. Not half bad, actually. So I would probably stay. Let me think about it. There are two choices in my books. It's either Switzerland, because if I don't have to worry about money or a job, then the price in Switzerland is pretty much okay, right? I guess that's the only major roadblock that you will have there. Yes, everything is super expensive, so living expenses will be sky high. But if that's not a factor, then that actually removes that limitation. And I get to ride on trains as much as I want. I get to enjoy the beautiful natural sceneries. I get to enjoy the amazing infrastructure, the cool people, the great food. And I will be close by. I will be in Europe, so I will have easier access to SCS maybe. And I can fly easier there and visit. I can get more stuff from ALMAR. He's from Poland, so shipping shouldn't be as far. Yeah, and I would be in the same time zone as you guys from Europe, so it shouldn't be as hard to find a common time. Then I would be 6 hours away from US time zone, 6 hours away from Asia time zone. It would be a nice balance in between. So I'd probably stay there. An alternative is staying in Japan. But in Japan, I would have to learn the language. And I would still have the same problem that I am not in the same time zone and geographical distance as you guys. So playing multiplayer, I will still have lag, If I'm going to focus on these things, then might as well settle myself geographically somewhere more in the center. So I'm going to choose Switzerland. Yeah. We were there last year, I think, was it? Late last year? Yes. And it is one of the best places we've been to. I think it's it's either number 1 or number 2. A close match between Japan and Switzerland in our books. It's just that everything is super expensive there, so it's a bit hard to stay there long. But yeah, if it's possible to be sustainable, then my goodness, Switzerland is the way. And if you ever want some other kind of European experience, it's easy to take a train to other countries, do a flight. So many different options. And yeah, geographically, even Switzerland itself is kind of in the middle of Europe, right? In like the mainland Europe, however you call it. So it's pretty cool. How is our fuel doing? Lower left dial, more than half. Okay, you can even see the battery in the upper left. It's a bit fidgeting there. It's a bit fidgeting between the green and red zone. I'm hoping that's nothing bad. That's cool. That's actually cool. What's not cool is I think it will be raining again. Dang it, please don't. But what's cool is that we'll be able to drive through a lot of these beautiful German highways, autobahns. I wonder if they call it autobahns as well, with an S like for plural, or just autobahn. You guys let me know, okay? Anyway, that's my answer to that question. Next one is, which is better to listen to, your heart or your brain? Ooh, the heart or brain discussion. I've always been a logical person, so I would say brain. But I do sometimes miss the fact, or miss the... I'm sometimes wishing that I'm more of a heart person, a bit more emotion in me, because I'm a bit of a robot in that sense, that I mostly make my brain do the thinking or do the deciding, And so it's logical, it makes sense, but sometimes it's not the, how do you say, empathic way of doing things. So it's a bit sad sometimes, being too efficient or thinking too much about things, analyzing things too much, does have its downsides from time to time. Up, please let me pass through, thank you. That car did not even want me to go into this lane. Look at all those lights. Wow. Terrible accident. I'm going to stay in this lane, because that other one, it seems like it is actually cutting off. And let's turn on our lights. It's getting dark in here. It's not raining, it's actually nighttime. So the good thing about World of Trucks is we can sleep and not worry about the timing, the expiration, because the expiration is in real time. So that's 17 hours 57 minutes remaining. That's in real time. So even if you sleep, no matter how many times you sleep in game, that actually won't change. In? No, okay, let's stay here. Someone escaped very slow there. Also, it might be hard to hear me now, huh? I just realized, but hopefully you guys can still understand. Maybe I should lower my volume even more. You let me know in the comments. So, I am a brain person, not a very emotional one. So usually the choices I make, let's say, they make sense, yeah? But sometimes it's not all about sense. Sometimes it's being empathic towards others. And I cannot think of an exact example, but yeah, sometimes it's worth to let your heart do the deciding sometimes. And maybe that's something I wish I had more of. I have no heart. No. Not that, but yeah. A bit more emotion, I guess, would not hurt. Good balance. I think the speed is okay. You can just let it pick up speed on its own. There we go. Beautiful. But yeah, I think it's a balance of both. I'm more of a brain person, but the question is which is better to listen to, the heart or the brain. I would say most of the time it's the brain, but sometimes you have to balance it. It's not all about the most optimal decision. It's also about the feelings of others, right? If you're going to be stepping on others' toes, then maybe that's not the best decision. So a bit of balance is always the best thing. Everything in moderation. Wasn't there a Chinese proverb about that? And I really believe that. Okay. 80 is the speed limit. Let's turn on cruise control. There's actually a cruise control as part of this truck. There's a button and there's an indicator. The button is right there behind the steering wheel on the right side of the switch. They're near the retarder. You can see it moving when I flick it. See? Yeah. Very nice. Everything is modeled in, just like XPS does it every time. Cool. Right. Next one. Which is better? Asking for permission or asking for forgiveness? Yeah, this is quite interesting as well. So, because they say sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission. Because, at least you can do what you want. But yeah, that's not a very good way of doing it. I guess there would be cases where asking for forgiveness would make sense or would be justified. But I'm kind of a guy who likes to follow the rules. So personally, I like asking for permission. I don't like putting myself in the authority in a position where we would have to be at odds with each other. So for me at least, it would be asking for permission most of the time. My goodness, look at that sky. Beautiful. Oh, no. Yeah, that's the hard thing about having a looking from behind. It's so hard to align the truck, especially with windy roads like this. Look at that sky from the side view mirror. Beautiful. Thank you, foggy weather. That is amazing. Okay. I can just look at that all day. Goodness. Let's move back here. Are you a superstitious type of person, even if you have one? About one. So Filipinos in general, our culture is very superstitious. I think Asians in general have a lot of superstitions. Chinese have a lot, Filipinos have a lot, probably others have a lot too. Personally though, I'm not so much into them. I cannot say I am not superstitious at all. But I try to keep it more logical. Like, you know, the common ones, like how do you say, like when a black cat crosses your path, you have bad luck, things like that. I would think, like, how poor would that be for the cat? What did the poor cat do to you that you make it the sign, the bearer of bad luck, right? Why put that burden? What's the speed limit here? Still 80, but there's some roadworks. Okay. Yeah, so why would you put that burden on that cat? What did the poor cat ever do to you to make it the bringer of bad luck just for its color? Isn't that like racism or something? So I definitely don't agree with that, and I don't believe it. And I think a big part of superstitions is the belief. Like, man, maybe this is a superstition in itself, but this is how I believe it, right? The more you believe in something, the more power you give it. So if you believe in superstitions, then they will have an effect. They will be true. But if you don't, then they won't. That's how I think about it. And so I choose not to believe as much as possible, especially with the bad ones. Because like the example with the cat, you know, making that cat such a poor guy of having to be scared, having people scared of him or her or it just because of its color. I don't think that's fair for the cat. And other things, some other superstitions make sense, like, I don't know, stay away from like certain, like if you think about feng shui, you know, this Chinese art of I'm not sure how to define it properly, this Chinese art of how do you say, like knowing the lucky positions in like furniture placing, or the right month to do things like that. Like, don't put your bed against the window, or don't make it face directly against the door, things like that. So they might be superstitious from some other point of view, but they can also be logical if you think about it. Like, I don't know, because if you place the headboard of your bed against the window, then it's more of a security risk, right? So it kind of makes sense. So those kinds of things I'm not against, but those that just seem so superstitious and don't have any logical basis, I don't agree with, and I don't like to practice. So you can also relate that to the previous, well, the previous question, because I'm more of a brain person. Like I think more logically than emotionally. I try to think of superstitions as well in a logical sense. If there is like a logical benefit in following the superstition, then I'm all for it. But if it's superstition for the sake of following superstition, then maybe I rethink, and why would you need to do it in the first place? So, and that not only goes for superstition, but also for other like cultural traditions. I'm not a very traditional guy. Like some harmless traditions are okay, but I mean, there are others which are there, which don't make sense, and which are very, I would say, not fit with the times. So yeah, it's a bit, I don't really follow many of them. So yeah, that's how I think about it. So you can probably see the brainy part, my brainy side. Maybe that's with eating that pork brain or something. No, maybe not. Okay. Next question. Where would you rather live? A big house in the suburbs, or a tiny apartment in a great location in the city? That's a good question. Big house in the suburbs or tiny apartment in a great location? So I think it's different depending on the phase of life you're in. If you're single, started working, focusing on your career, enjoying your time with your friends, then I think it's perfect for having a tiny apartment in a great location in the city, because you have access to everything, right? But if you are starting to settle down, build a family, then I would think the big house in the suburbs is a much better decision. So in my personal phase right now, I'm leaning more towards the big house in the suburbs, because that just provides stability, and you might not have as easy access to everything, but yeah, you can really plant your roots basically. So I'm that stage in my life now where I'm starting to think about that kind of thinking, less about the going out, less about the enjoying the nightlife or the city access, and more about having a nice home where it will be conducive to building a family, having a nice man cave. Okay, maybe not so mature, but yeah. If you can manage it, why not, right? A man cave would be amazing for my recording, for my streaming, for all the simulation peripherals. That would be awesome. But yeah, that's part of it, I guess. Yeah, I guess it really depends on the stage of life you're in. If you're a party goer, then probably suburbs is going to sound pretty boring to you. But if you're like getting into the 30s, and look at that transition, that beautiful sky, you can start seeing the stars. The moon is right there. Yeah, very nice. You can still see some streaks of sunset. Amazing. So I think, yeah, it's getting really dark now, so I think we'll go and find a rest area somewhere, and I will continue maybe in the next episode, because how much do we have to go? Yeah, I think we'll find the next station and then we'll call it an episode. Okay. My bad, wrong one. Cannot merge in yet. Now it's super dark, pitch black. There we go. Slow down there. Goodness, that jake brake. You guys let me know if that's realistic, okay? I would think that's only in US trucks, but what do I know, right? But still sound cool sounding, so why not? Why not? Okay. Next question. Let me see. Which do you like more? A great book or a great movie? Definitely a great book. Definitely a great book. I'm not sure why, but and it's raining, so it's perfect time to stop and let the rain finish, so we have a nice view when we start driving again. Definitely I would choose a great book over a great movie because it gives more. Books have that way. Oh crap, did not notice this till the last minute, my bad. Books have a real way of creeping up. Ooh, rip. Of creeping up into you, like really, how do you say, being a part of your life. At least you feel that way while you're reading it. Like you really get involved, you really get immersed into the world. And a great movie can make you feel like that for a couple of hours, right? A good book can make you feel like that for days, weeks. So the amount of detail that you can put in a book is completely on a different level compared to what you can squeeze into a movie. So as long as you can, if you get into the habit of reading, you won't regret it, because there are so many amazing books out there. And if you haven't started reading, you're missing out. If you enjoy reading or watching movies, then reading books should even be a step up, in my opinion. You just need to have the, how do you say, the grit to read. Because I know a lot of people who are like saying reading is so boring, cannot read a page, things like that. But you just have to get used to it, and you will get rewarded tenfold, in my opinion. And so usually when you find a movie adaptation of a book, right, and you like it, if you read the book, then it will be even more amazing. Like, I guess if you ask like 9 out of 10 times, that's my estimate, a book will be much better, much better than its movie counterpart, than its movie equivalent. So yeah, if you make me pick, I would choose a great book anytime. Although, well, I guess the only exception is time. You would need more time to read a book. So if you don't have time, then a movie will only last you a couple of hours. So I guess there's that. Man, it's super dark, huh? Super scary. Bright lights, high beams. Do we even have like a stop somewhere? Wait, let me try to plan a route, because I'm not sure if there's anything nearby. There is one there. Perfect. Okay. Right. So let's stop there and let's continue next episode. Okay. Yeah, great movies are amazing, but great books are even more so. And you would know how I feel if you have tried it out. I stopped recently reading because I don't have much time recently. Too busy, but I really want to get back into it. But I had a phase where I was reading a lot of fiction books, a lot of sci-fi, well, fantasy books. And I would read like books with like 15, like a series with 15 books in them, 12 books, 11. And each book would be like 1,000 pages, and they would be filled with so many amazing worlds that the authors come up with, so many colorful characters, so many amazing events, and that's a pretty cool car. And it's just mind-blowing what they can come up with, and it's just so immersive, you know, immersing yourself in a completely different world, really getting into the heads of the characters. It's just so engrossing, and it's just an amazing feeling. And you have that feeling, you know, that feeling when you finish a movie and you're like, or finish a TV series, you're like, oh my goodness, that was so good. Like you kind of feel empty because it's over, and you're going to miss the characters so much, but it's done, and it's great, but it's done, so it's kind of bittersweet. You get that feeling even more with amazing books, and that's the sign that you've really read a great book. That feeling of like regret, or I don't know how you say it, melancholy. And also, reading books gives you a I think I should have gone there, huh? Because here, how could I turn? Is there someone behind me? Yes, there is. Let's see if I can make this turn. Should be able to manage. And maybe let's refuel. So we're here anyway. We are at half a tank. Should be fine. Okay, let's see. 276 kilometers. Actually, that's quite short, huh? So maybe the next episode will be a bit shorter than usual. Crossmark, one of the new Baltic DLC trailers. Just like that, it's full. It felt so weird when I first got into external view. It felt like there was a truck opposite me. Well, there really is a truck opposite me. It felt so weird. Modern versus classic. Whoop. So where do we position ourselves here? Where is the rest area? Grab a bite over there first. Maybe we can like grab a cup of decaf coffee on the way. It feels quite cold with this rain. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, cool. Alright, so let's end here. We'll continue next episode. We'll finish the trip. I'll probably pre-record this so I can make sure that I finish this, because remember the time limit is in real time. The time limit is real life, 17 hours in real life, so I have to finish it in one go. But I'll make this into a different episode, so we don't have 2 long episodes here. Okay, ooh, nice light. DAF interior lights, very sleek. Alright, let's leave it there, guys. Oh, let's make this the front one. That looks cooler because of the lighting. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. I'll catch you in the next episode, okay? And don't forget, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, comment, share with your friends, all that stuff. Clumsy trucking, everybody. Catch you in the next episode where we finish this trip. Thanks, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.